of you and me, both as an educator, and we're now changing the way we educate our, our young generation, and moving forward.
Right.
How we connect and engage with the students in the 21st century. And I think it's so important that we, as educators, we have an open mind, and our mindset needs to like change and accept that the technology is not going backwards; it's just moving forward.
Right.
And some of us don't want change.
Right.
And it is very challenging for people like you too, in the classroom. What would you tell the educators out there that don't want change and don't want to get on board? Well, what would you tell them?
I would say every generation is different. So how we used to teach 50 years ago, 100 years ago is now it has to be completely different. I mean, we have iPads, we have all this stuff. Before it was more of read this, remember this, memorize this. But I mean, now I have a phone, I can type something in and get the information in a second. So I don't need to spend time memorizing. Now I can focus more on my critical thinking, problem solving, more conceptual knowledge, whereas just the opposed to the former memorize and remember this for the rest of your life tactic.
I didn't even think of that, because sometimes the argument is that the young generation is like no longer thinking. You can't do critical thinking when you're doing the social media, which I think that's wrong, because you guys are multitaskers.
Yeah.
You can tweet and you can post on Facebook, but at the same time you can do your homework.
Yeah.
And sometimes in anywhere.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can be in a loud place with the TV on, with stuff going on in the background, and still sit and learn. So
yeah, and also learn culture from other people and engage and connect with your counterparts on the other side of the world. I mean, very quickly. I mean, you don't have to have these books and so sometimes it's still very hard for us to convince, because people don't like change.
Right. Oh yeah.
And also the problem with that is the technology is moving very fast, and there's a lot of changes and it's advancing very quickly. And so sometimes I do understand the educators, before us, like the older generation. I do understand, but having an open mind about it, I think, is a very first step.
I mean, I understand why teachers are hesitant when it comes to technology, because I mean, they went to school, they learned how to teach. They started doing it, and then all of a sudden someone said, no, we're changing it now. Like, I understand why I would be upset if I paid to go to school and then all of a sudden now it's changing. So I understand why, they're in the comfort zone, they know what they're doing. And then now
the comfort zone.
Right. And now they're kind of changing it up. So, but at the same time, I mean, if you're a teacher and if you really want your students to learn, then you should adapt your learning or adapt your teaching towards their learning.
Right.
So I feel like it's a two-way street. Teachers need to learn how to teach kids, and our youth also need to be able to understand.
Hope that we can get a lot of young people and older people to come together and understand that, hey, we have to change the way we teach. The question that I have is, what is an educator like? Because you are a young educator. What is an educator like 10, 20 years from now? How are we going to teach?
Right.
How are we going to engage and connect with the young generation, with the younger generation, younger than you, which they no longer know the texture of paper. They have the iPads and the tablets. That's how they read and learn.
Right.
So if educators don't change and have an open mind, it's going to be very hard for us to educate the future generations. I want you to tell our viewers or our people out there, how would you make that change? How would you educate moving forward? What do you want to do?
I mean, personally, I want to jump on any opportunity that I have. So if it's a workshop to help me work on my technology skills, so how to use an iPad or a tablet correctly to better my students, if there's a way I can engage students with technology, I definitely want to use it. But I have to put in the effort to want to change and to want to be a better educator. So there is a responsibility that falls on educators. Once you earn your degree and learn how to teach, you're not done. You need to be able to change, with the times and be able to keep up, or you will be outdated.
Right. But at the same time, we have our older educators that we cannot set them aside or show disrespect for them. So I think with your generation, it's kind of like we need to find a way to keep the connection with them and to show that we respect them, and at the same time make them realize that, hey, we are changing and we want you on board. And
right. I mean the old I guess the old way, it's not like it didn't work. It worked for the time it was in, but now that we're in a new time, I'm not saying we need to completely do away with the old system. We just need to learn to change it for the time now. Right. I would say, my biggest pet peeve is standardized tests. I'm biggest opponent of standardized tests. I think, you don't tell a brain surgeon, politician won't tell a brain surgeon how to do an operation. So why is he going to tell an educator how to teach? It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Right. It doesn't even work. I don't believe so, because we are so diverse. Right. And so if the testing is like for created for like a group of singular group, and everyone is unique. Everyone learns differently.
And we have different experiences and different skills and way of learning. And so then you have an exam. I mean, that's why we're declining, is because we're trying to make everyone the same, and everyone is different.